Canada is prepared to offer up to 200 ground troops, transport and armed helicopters, cargo planes and military trainers for future United Nations peacekeeping operations, the Liberal government announced Wednesday. The 5-year military commitment is part of a comprehensive package that includes millions of dollars to help other countries boost the involvement of women in peace operations and strengthen security for those involved in high-risk missions. The presentation of the long-awaited list of military capabilities was reported last week by CBC News. With the details in place, the list is now being registered with the International Office overseeing peacekeeping more than 14 months after the Trudeau government committed to providing up to 600 troops and 150 police officers for UN operations. In his address to the Vancouver conference, Trudeau said peacekeeping in the Canadian imagination has become rooted in a kind of nostalgia, but it is no longer what it used to be, and there must be a new vision. We are making these pledges today, because we believe in the United Nations and we believe in peacekeeping, he said. What we will do is step up and make the contributions we are uniquely able to provide. Many missions have become dangerous, Trudeau said. We're asking peace operations to do more, not only to deal with violence when it erupts, but to respond to the entire life cycle of conflict, preventing its outbreak, supporting complicated peace processes and helping people to rebuild their lives when conflict ends. That is the reality of modern peace operations. Given that reality, we need to try new things. Senior government officials, speaking on background prior to the announcement, said the numbers could eventually reach what was pledged last year, but the focus of Canada's renewed involvement will see smaller, more tightly defined missions, rather than the mass deployments of troops as in the past. The country's top military commander, in an interview late Wednesday with CBC News, reaffirmed the commitment of 600 military personnel, noting participation in UN missions would involve members of the Army and Air Force. We will be deploying up to 600, said Jonathan Vance, the Chief of Defense Staff. He noted that in addition to those involved in direct peacekeeping operations, there will be 2 streams of Canadian military members helping train other less experienced countries, and those troops would count towards the total. The Conservative Foreign Affairs critic, MP Erin O'Toole, a former veterans minister who served as an Air Force navigator, said the confusion was created by the Liberal government, whose initial commitment left the public with the impression that there would be 600 boots on the ground. There was a clear understanding, he said. They have an entirely different construct. My disappointment is that rather than own up to the fact their initial commitment was ill-conceived, they've dressed this up with a confusing range of proposals. Walter Dorn, a professor of defense studies at the Royal Military College of Canada, said Wednesday's announcement is bound to disappoint both the public and the UN, which has been repeatedly calling for Canadian support. This is a smaller version of what we promised the UN, he said.